Yes, you did. You made it weird.
What's happening, weirdos? This is the incredible Bobby Moynihan, who you know from Saturday Night Live, a.k.a. SNL. Ever heard of it? Wonderful, wonderful program. He's so funny, a talented improviser, writer, and performer, and I've been trying to get him on the show for years, and I'm so glad. I'm actually glad we did it when we did it, because he's found so much closure and so much wisdom, and he's really found a great cruising altitude in his life, and he's sharing some of that with us here in this chat, and I'm so excited for you guys to hear it. Only a couple things up top to talk about. One, I am currently on the road. Go to PeteHolmes.com if you'd like to see me in a town or city near you, or if you're going to be in Los Angeles, I am there once a month at Largo. Go to largo-la.com and look for Pete Holmes Living at Largo. Always the highlight of my month. The next one is on May 4th. It's going to be incredible. But PeteHolmes.com for your general touring needs. Also, only one Pete's pick here up top. This is Magic Mind. The way that I do the ads here is I find products that I actually use and I actually love, like Magic Mind, something that changed my life. I saw it online. I met the owner, one of the founders, James Bashara, who's a dear friend of mine. He told me about it. He got me some. I am absolutely, I don't want to say hooked, because it's not like I'm addicted to it, but it has changed my life. It has made me more productive and less stressed. I can get more done and with less resistance. Magic Mind is a elixir, basically, that helps you focus better on your work, be more creative, and drink less coffee. Athletes have Gatorade. Now creators have Creatorade. It is a mix of 12 functional ingredients, including matcha, nootropics or nootropics, depending on how you say that make you focus, and adaptogens that help you fight off stress. So if you take it in the morning with your coffee, the adaptogens round out the edges of that caffeine, making you less jittery from the coffee. If you drink it on its own, you don't get wired at all. You just get dialed in. It's basically flow state in a bottle. You get 30% more done on average. That's 5 to 7 hours of 30% more productivity after drinking. This stuff helps you fight off procrastination, brain fog, fatigue, and some ADD symptoms, getting you into that flow state. It is wonderful, a secret weapon for me whenever I'm doing a podcast or sitting down to write or just sitting down to face my inbox, which always freaks me out. Magic Mind gives me the energy to do it and also calms me down and gives me the focus I need to do it. And with a money-back guarantee, any first purchase will be refunded, no questions asked, if it doesn't meet your expectations. And we have a special offer. Go to magicmind.co/weird and use my discount code at checkout, weird, for a limited 20% off your first order. That's magicmind.co/weird and use promo code weird for 20% off and see what all the buzz is about. All right, everybody, let's get into our chat with Bobby Moynihan. Get into it.
This is great. Tell us about your renovation.
We bought a house.
Not to be too YouTube clickbaity,
Yeah,
but
right?
Bobby Moynihan talks about renovating his LA house.
What everyone needs.
And
to
everyone
know.
clicks on it, and then they immediately cream their jeans.
That's the worst headline ever.
I can't. Don't get me. I mean, I'm the one getting me started, but like when it comes to the YouTube game, like trying to get people to care about a show that's about like deep comedy, relationships, love, and the meaning of life, but like you have to be interested in like talking about like God or religion or whatever, but you also have to like look the other way when I say cum gutters. Like, how do you find that audience?
It's a fine line.
It's a fine line
between
cum
love
gutters.
and podcasts.
What?
Between love and podcasts.
Yes, that's right. I don't know. I know I'm just so grateful for the people that we have. I couldn't begin to try and find the people that listen to the show. I'm just so glad they're already here.
Oh, gotcha.
Because it's like changed as we've gone. I don't mean to start with a thesis about this podcast.
No, I love it. I just was making sure we were talking about the same thing. I thought you just meant new people in general. And I was just like,
that also
are
applies.
people forcing you to meet new people?
Well,
that's what I thought you meant.
Are you an intri or an extri? Introvert or extrovert?
Oh, I don't know.
Really?
I think
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What?
Here's another way to ask it.
Sure.
We just wrapped Saturday Night Live. The one episode, any episode. Maybe you go to the parties. That Sunday, You calling people to hang out, or are you just recharging?
No, I don't hang. No.
Yeah.
I'm the worst.
That might be introverted.
I'm an
maybe.
anus.
You're an anus.
when it comes to friendship.
Just
I think.
wedged between two large.
No,
butt cheeks?
I'm very happy to go home always.
Yeah.
And
cancel
got the
plans, too?
partying at SNL out soon. The last 2 years, I think I went home like it was like the good nights. I had my book bag right off stage. My book bag.
It would actually just cut to an insert of you on a bus
Yeah.
going home.
Yeah.
Like it's like Miley Cyrus. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hard,
Just
soundless.
hard cut to me
To
in a
you.
cab, silent. Just and I'm watching the show.
Yeah. Here's a nice heart place to start. I heard, because you were one of those dudes that was at UCB when I was at UCB.
Mhm.
And you were the first person
A lot
I knew.
of dudes at UCB.
A lot of dudes. You
Yeah.
were one of those beer drinking soft white boys like me.
You think I was really? Do you think that? Do you think a beer drinking soft white? Is that really your remembrance, or are you just trying to be
Everybody
absolutely
at
hilarious?
UCB was a soft white boy. A lot of them had beards. Like
True.
there was an improv. There's an Onion.
There was
headline.
at least 8 of me.
There were 8 of you.
Yeah, it was
That's
like me,
interesting.
Pat Bear, John Gabris. There was a lot of
There was a lot of yous.
types. Yeah.
Yes. And were there other Gethards? It's like Gethard, Zach Woods, like
I
that.
think there's only one Gethard.
Yeah, but at least I'll call it the lovable pale dork, and I say that with love, and I'd say that
Of
if
course, I
Chris
get
was in the
that.
room. You know what I mean? It's like that type.
That's funny. My first thought was I'm more of an Ernie and they're more of a Bert.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Zach Woods is Bert.
Oh, I'll take that.
He's Bert. You were.
I
Could
was-
have used a second yes and because I can see him at home watching this. Well, I clicked the wrong.
No,
Bobby
I-
Moynihan renovates his house clickbait.
I love them all.
Whoops a doodle. Yeah, no, I love them all too. But okay, so I was there doing stand up and you got SNL. And here's the heart opening, kind of lovely gratitude place. Because I heard you say that you cried when you heard your name announced. the
Don
first
Pardo,
time
yeah.
Don Pardo say your name. Also, I'm going to blend into that and then I'm going to give it to you. Like I'm warning you. Then it's going to be your turn. But I still have SNL goodnight streams that I'm doing the good nights at SNL. So I wonder if that primes you. Did you used to have SNL goodnight streams?
Oh, yeah.
And then getting it. Take me through for the fun of it, but also just for that warm. You know what I mean? Like there we were. Do you know what I mean? There we were, and you got SNL. It's crazy.
It's nuts. It's nuts to
Beautiful.
think about. It's also crazy to think about now because, like, closer to SNL or like whatever, talked about it a lot more. Now I don't talk about it as much.
yeah.
So it is crazy to go back, I guess, and start thinking about it differently,
you're in your-
especially in
yeah.
the context of like, like I said, I don't talk to many people.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
yeah.
to talk to them, like you were around at that time.
Yes.
Like it's like we were probably around each other more at that time than we are now. Obviously, I think that's
the
where
last
everyone.
time I saw you was with the Muppets at the Hollywood Bowl.
Is that true?
Yeah.
The last time we saw each
That was
other
when
in
I
person,
saw
Gonzo
you.
was there.
God.
It's the best thing
I'll
I've
see you
ever
next
heard.
time Gonzo's in town, Bobby.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
would drop everything to hang out with Gonzo, not
He's the Al Pacino of the Muppets.
friends of mine.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, because you understand.
He's the Al Pacino of the Muppets. I completely disagree.
Really? I just mean,
Get out.
who is he of the Muppets? He's the Gonzo of the Muppets. He's the Mo Sizlak of the Muppets.
I mean, maybe.
Mo reads to the needy at
I don't
night.
know if that's right.
Tell me.
Well, I'm just trying to think. He's so like insane and weird. His whole thing is just weird for weird's sake, but also like he loves a chicken. He's a very open. He has
That's why I was saying Mo
is
reads
admitted.
to
He loves
orphans.
cross dressing. He loves
Yes. Yes.
he's
Yes.
very open. I'm trying to think. Like I don't know. Al Pacino.
Okay, Richard Kind is the Fozzie. Or Fozzie is the Richard Kind.
That's a good one.
Yeah, there we go.
That's a really good one.
I just wanted to get one right.
That's
You
all,
know
you
what
don't
it
have
is?
to. You don't have to get
And I'm
any
not
right.
making fun of Pacino's nose.
None of these are
Shots-
right answers.
There's a right answer.
There-
Shots fired on
I guess.
Pacino's nose, but Pacino's face reminds me of Gonzo.
That's fucked up. I'm not gonna lie. If I were Al Pacino, I would never listen to you do comedy
Hi,
again.
Paige. Oh, you want the books? Come on in.
There's literally a family at the window.
No, it's Paige who works with me. Come on in, Paige. You interrupted a perfect
That was like a
excuse for me to
sitcom.
do.
Hi.
Oh, hi. Hi, baby. Oh my God, she's so big.
hello.
Get real. Nice to see you. Hi, Haley. Yeah, of course. Yeah, my pleasure. Bye. Just Paige picking up a stack of my books. Just as I was about to, it's hard to find an opportunity where you can organically do your best impression, which is Al Pacino. And it was that window, and now it's gone.
I disagree.
You think it can come back?
I wish somebody would do an Al Pacino impression right now.
But I can't remember what the setup was. We were saying Gonzo.
You said Al Pacino looks like Gonzo.
Oh, and you said he would
I
never
said
watch it again.
if
So
I
he's at his
was
computer
Al Pacino.
going like, well, I picked the wrong link to click today. Not bad.
I like that he put it on himself and didn't get mad at you. I like that.
Yeah,
about Al
yeah,
Pacino.
yeah.
You made him a very.
My curious fingers. He's on an iPad. Press the wrong square.
I'm not going to do an Al Pacino impression.
I
This
feel
is
like
my
you
Al
could.
Pacino impression. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, you're
That's
getting
really
the
good.
sing-songy. I'm doing what Hader does, which is Scent of a Woman Pacino. If you watch Frank Caliendo, he does real Pacino.
No,
You
I'm just
won't.
kidding. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just thought it would be funny to
This is
flat
a
out
snooze,
refuse.
meaning there's the way he actually talks and there's the way we want him to talk, which is Scent of a Woman.
That's it's like Taron's Brad Pitt. Do
Yeah.
Taron kill him?
Oh, I didn't know he did Brad Pitt.
Oh, it's my favorite. He did it on SNL all the time, but he would just do it, and then at the end of a sentence, he would just go, "Buh."
That!
And it was just like he would always just add in a weird Brad
Ugh.
Pitt kind of sound, and it
That's-
wasn't. I don't think Brad Pitt does that, but it just
He does.
It's he might if
He has.
should do it now.
Yes.
If not,
Yes.
But like
In his
my
tra-
favorite is like slightly exaggerated, weird impression. I
Nobody
love it.
wants the real guy. I saw on your Wikipedia that you did, just telling you how I found it, but I haven't seen you do Jonah Hill, but it said you do Jonah Hill. And I was like, I don't even know what a Jonah Hill sounds like.
That's really weird. All impressionists talk about Bobby Moynihan's Jonah Hill impression. It's up there with Rich Little, and that's it.
but I can't even hear him.
It was 99.6% costume and wig, and 4% the way I actually look.
Which puts us at
I don't think I
103.
spoke. I might have not even spoke. I might have
That-
just looked. I might have just been the largest.
And what's funny is I'm hearing how your potential to do Seth Rogen because it might just be.
I did
the
Seth. I
way-
played
know,
Seth Rogen too, but
I
like,
can
that's
hear
that's
that in the way you
somewhat
talk
easy.
too.
Yeah.
Is it?
Well,
What
I
was
mean,
your
like
touchstone
it's
for that?
It's I'm not. I'm gonna go as far as saying I'm never gonna try and do an impression on camera again.
Really? It was never your thing. Never liked it. I mean.
Well, I think it the opposite. Like I loved like weird. Like my favorite thing to do in an improv show is to like make someone Sinbad or like you know what I mean. Just like, and I don't care what they do. I just want to see them do it. Like like I loved like. I think I scored
Sinbad
with
is
like
the best.
Oh, it's my
Well, 'cause
favorite.
you'll know if it's wrong, but you don't know
It's
how
just
to
more
make
of
it
a
right.
vibe with Sinbad.
It's
You
more
just
of a
gotta
vibe.
be positive and psyched
And confident.
and confident.
He's deeply
and have large
confident.
pants.
He did this spot and he said he's never bombed. I'll never forget it. He says, I've never bombed.
and he's right.
I believe he's right too. I actually believe him. Because bombing is an agreement you enter in with the audience. And if he doesn't sign, you have to serve papers to a comedian to get him to agree that he's bombing. And Sinbad just never, that's why his name is Sinbad. It's not his legal name.
I love him. I love him with all my heart. I always have.
Yeah,
There's
me
a special
too.
place in my heart
Me too.
for Sinbad.
Is this real?
Yes, very much so.
He was one of those guys that when I watched when I was young, I was like, we're about the same age. I watched his special and I was like, I don't know what's
he
happening.
is comedy growing up. I mean, like,
He
yeah,
is comedy.
he-
Like he embodies it. He's not doing it in the way that Seinfeld's doing it. He just is it. He's just a funny guy.
I wrote a sketch for SNL with a couple people, Christine Nangle and oh my god, I'm blanking. Whatever. Called Kings of Catchphrase Comedy, where like I got to play essentially like a smash between Sinbad and. Do you ever hear of Shucky Ducky?
Yeah, quack quack.
Yeah. I played a guy named Slappy Pappy who just ended every joke by saying Slappy Pappy, wing, wing. And it was just and just making weird sounds. And it was just because I wanted to dress like Sinbad and have a good time because I literally love Sinbad.
Me, Mulaney, and Joe Manny were obsessed with Shucky Ducky Quack Quack.
Mulaney
And Hamburger.
Mulaney came up with the best joke in the entire thing, which is Kenan Thompson plays a guy. It was kind of after Hamburger, who came to the show one night that we did the sketch, which was nuts. But
Wait, Hamburger was there?
was at the show because we did it a couple times and he came back because of it. Keenan played a guy named David Beef Jelly Winfield, which Dave Winfield was on the Yankees and I just thought it was funny.
I'm going to touch your knee. Is that okay?
Yes, very much so.
Beef jelly?
David Beef Jelly Winfield, and his catchphrase was just he would tell a joke. And John Mulaney wrote his first joke ever, which was, "You ever come home and catch a white eating dookie?"
Your wife?
And then he would just,
Catch
"You
your
ever
wife
come
eating
home
dookie?"
and catch your wife eating dookie?" And then he would just go, "Beef jelly." And that was it. And it was, I think it was my favorite joke ever. I remember John Mulaney saying that pitching that and
it's hard to separate
for
from
a really long time.
His voice, because I can see him pitching it.
That's what I mean.
You know what I
and
mean?
then
You ever
having
come home and you
Keenan
watch
say
eating
anything. Yeah.
beef jerky, and everyone's like, "This is
No, not beef jerky. That would make sense.
Beef jelly."
Yeah.
I remember Mulaney not pitching me, but telling me, I don't think you ever did it, but they wanted to do a sketch where I think it was Reverend Al Sharpton doing a commercial for sushi, but he hates sushi. Just one of the most classic setups where he's going like, "They have tuna tartare, gross. Salmon nigiri, yuck." He won't.
It's his. You just hear him saying it.
Yeah, exactly. One of those.
I shared an office with him
You
for
did?
the first couple. Yeah, we got hired together and we shared an office together
Oh
for
my
like
God.
4 years, 3 or 4 years.
See, that's interesting because Mulaney and I were friends before that too. So I watched both of
Same,
you
yeah.
cross over.
I was there like when they used to do "Oh Hello." I was their son who wanted to be a rapper.
Perfect. In those early videos.
In those like when we did a bunch at UCB like
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. Oh my God, that is
Nuts.
bringing me back.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching them do
Absolutely
that.
insane.
Nobody, like, I don't want to, it's a Pacino line, smell my own farts. But, like, enjoy my
Did he
own
really say
story.
that?
He says it in Glengarry Glen Ross. He's like,
Yeah, he does.
no, he goes, "You close a deal, this place reeks of your farts for a month."
That's right. I was in Glengarry Glen Ross in college.
You were?
Yeah.
Who were you?
The guy that gets all his money taken.
James Link?
Yep.
You were James Link.
Yeah, in college.
That I
It
closed
was
last night.
That's
from You did
yeah,
that
it was
play.
like I think it was
And a lot of
What's
your
his
lines are
name?
just "my wife," ellipses.
yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of that. That was a lot of but
You said,
yeah,
"I
no, I
can't-
remember loving
I can't negotiate. Negotiate what? The deal. The deal. The deal is dead, James.
So you know it a little. You know it a lot better than me.
Krasinski to the.
I
I ran into one of the guys. Forgive me for calling him the redheaded doctor from Scrubs. Do you know this man's name?
no.
Yep. Then we're just gonna call. I love that you gave it a good college.
I had to think about it for a
Yeah.
second. I think I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember any. I think I'm thinking of Neil, the janitor guy. No, because you said doctor. That was
Oh
the
yeah, the
problem.
janitor guy.
I
We're
tried
talking about
to
the
change
redheaded.
what you said
to make it
into
something you
what I
knew.
wanted.
Yeah, so you could win.
Oh, you mean Lassie the dog that I know?
We got to get back to Hamburger. Let's not forget
Oh,
that.
sorry.
But I ran into him, and he
Hamburger?
played. No, I ran into the
Go
Hamburglar.
ahead.
What if the comedian Hamburger was kidnapped by the Hamburglar,
Now we're talking.
or if he was kidnapped and you're a cop? Here's the scene.
I think me and Mulaney and Simon Rich wrote a sketch at SNL that did not get on with Anne Hathaway, where I was the Hamburglar and sneaking back into the house, and she was my wife, and she was in a black and white striped nightgown,
Oh my God.
and she had a bandit mask on also, and she was just like, "Where were you?" And I was like, "Rapper." And she was like, "You've been stealing hamburgers again, haven't you?" And the whole thing was like, hamburgers don't help us. We don't gain anything from having more hamburgers. They only hurt you. You need if you're gonna live this way, you have to start thinking about the family first. It was just a very like
Wait, like steal actual stuff.
you have to steal money. It was like that. It was like you have to go if you're gonna steal. It has to be.
Because
And
three
I never
hamburgers
spoke. I just
in.
said rubble. It did not get on. But I think I wrote that with Simon and John Mulaney. I think.
As a gift, you can also pass. Will you be a cop? And
Yes.
I'm a cop, and we realize that the comedian Hamburger has been kidnapped, and it's a very serious situation. I just want you to be a cop who thinks of the joke. Do you think it was the Hamburglar? But is really trying not to. You know, it's inappropriate.
It does feel like every cop would take the swing, though.
You think they would go for it? Do you think it was?
know.
Yeah, because they're chewing gum and they're leaning on the cruiser and like
Before body cams, definitely.
before the body cam, it was a fucking open mic.
Tell me about it. I wonder if cops know the name of the guy who invented the body cam.
And they curse his
they're like,
name.
fuck that guy, Doug Stevenson. Like,
Yeah,
wonder
I got
if they do.
Stevenson. Oh, fuck you,
Have
Doug.
you seen the clip going around like the past month of the chief of police in like Ohio or something that got pulled over?
No.
He's hammered and he got pulled over like a town over, and he's just going, "Hey, turn your camera. Hey." And the guy goes, "No, I'm not turning the camera off." He goes, "Okay." And he just gets so defeated.
He tried.
He tried. You go, "Hey, camera, turn it." It's real, like adorable, like a child. Like he's just like trying to get his attention.
That's like my 4-year-old daughter will go,
Yep.
she'll make a secret for no reason. She'll go, let's not tell mama that you brushed my hair.
Mhm. Dad, I have a secret. What is
Yeah.
it? I'm gonna go potty, and when I get back, I want you to unpause the movie.
That's it. Because secrets are fun.
Mm-hmm.
Secrets are fun.
Very much so.
I just want to make a secret off camera with you so we can
Don't
have
let
a
anybody
secret.
else know.
Yeah.
This is very important.
And then when you realize you have dish, because I feel like you tell me something, Val just finds out. I don't know if you're that way with your wife.
If I tell who something, my daughter.
If you told me, no, sorry, jumping around, moving the
I'm
subjects.
not smart.
No, you are.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Bobby.
Thank you.
Excuse me,
I'm
Bobby.
self-deprecating.
I like
Too
that. Which, by the way,
Yes.
smart move. Whenever I'm looking at my stand-up and I'm like, something's off, like I'm losing them, it's because I have to add, it's like a seasoning. You go, it's because I made myself not the joke. I'm attacking something else too much, and it just needs a sprinkle of call myself Old Petey or Old Petey's not the smartest guy. It needs that. It's very different from other countries in America. If you look like me, I guess. I think it has a lot to do with how you look. Somebody told me in Ireland, the reason I mention other countries is like, if you're going to be a singer, songwriter, or a poet, they're like, you have to be depressed. You just have to. Like, we won't accept it. If you're going around whistling, this accent is terrible, going around whistling Dixie, oh, it's Scottish. They're like,
It's all the same.
you earn it by being dour all day. And then they'll go like, let's have us a poem. Sorry, we're all over the place.
As we should be. I mean,
As
like
we
I
should be.
expected nothing less.
This is a day off for old Holmes. I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay, so you're smart, and I was saying subjects and secrets. If you, Bobby, tell me, don't tell anyone, but at night I drink paint thinner, right? Like it's just something I love. Some people drink alcohol. I sip little bits of paint thinner, and I go, I won't tell anybody. I'm going to tell Val.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a couple. You're not talking
Yeah.
to one person right now. It's a couple.
Yeah, I got a job recently, a job that like you're not allowed to tell people about.
Yeah,
You know, like you got to
Yes.
sign something that says you won't talk about this
that
for a
says
while.
I am Boba Fett, and you have to sign it. Go on.
And from the showrunner got a text and then immediately sent a text to my wife that said, "You're not going to believe this. I got it." And they cast this person.
Yes, of course you
And
did.
sent it immediately to the showrunner by accident.
Yeah.
And then was like, "I'm now going to get fired."
Wait, what?
Because
First of all, tilt that mic
I'm
towards
sorry.
you.
Because I didn't send it to my wife. I
You
sent it
to the showrunner.
I sent it immediately to the showrunner and then sent him a text immediately that said, "Sorry, that was clearly for my wife." Like you know,
Which,
like
by the way, like our legal system
didn't hear a thing about it. It was
Yes.
like it was like that is understood. I felt like it was just like we understand that.
There's certain
I hope.
I can't think of them, but there are laws. Like it's built into our league. I think it's so funny that no matter how many like Greek pillars we erect and we put on robes and we bang fine wooden gavels and all this stuff, there's all these allowances for the human condition in the legal system. And some of them have to do with like, well, it was his wife or it was her husband. Like,
You like if you're married or if you're
Oh,
married,
she
like,
can't
you
testify.
can't testify
That's
because
what it
it's
is.
your wife, and like people get married and they're just like,
that's what I would, thank you for knowing what I was talking about. But that's absurd. That's absurd.
it's crazy.
It's like they're married.
Well,
Ladies and gentlemen of the
as you
jury,
get-
they
as-
have sex.
As you get older, don't you just find like everything's absolutely insane and broken and has every single thing has one loophole.
Yes.
Like maybe if it's even as a parent where you're just like, how do you tell this person
I was just thinking about that
like
today.
this is a fact?
Yeah.
Because it might not be a fact in 2 years.
Yes.
Or it might be, or I could be wrong. I
Yes.
don't know. Like it's
All you're doing is you're indoctrinating them into a conspiracy of flimsy ideals.
yeah.
And that's what culture is. A conspiracy of flimsy ideals. Like I was thinking about like, I'm sort of full of shit when it comes to what I eat. Like I don't eat beef. I just, for some
I
reason,
am beef.
you're Shia LaBeouf.
I wish.
You wish you were Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
You would trade lives with Shia LaBeouf.
Not Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf. A
Montreal street performer.
Shia LaBeouf a fat Shia LaBeouf impersonator
Called Shia LaBeouf.
called Shia LaBeouf. I would take his life, not like kill him.
No, you wouldn't kill
Swap.
this man. You would.
I would face off with him.
You would happily become
I would not murder him.
Shia LaBeouf. It's not Shia. His name is S-H-Y.
It's correct.
and it's airbrushed on his car.
It's Shia LaBeouf.
I tweeted that once. I was like, I never forget that Shia LaBeouf's name is Shia the
And
Beef.
his business cards are double sided just in case.
Wait, which side is which?
Both. They have both the same thing on both sides. Because why would you have one blank side?
That seems like
The
something.
beef.
That seems like a cocaine idea, like the Wolf of Wall
Thanks.
Street. The Wolf of Wall Street guy is like, we print it on both sides. Why are you
Yeah.
handing them one? You got a 50% variable. They're not going to see your info.
I don't. This is the weirdest thing ever, and I don't know if I've ever thought about it. But the second my dad showed me his business card ever, I went like in my mind, I went like, why is it not on both sides? I don't know why.
And we're
I
back.
and I don't think I ever thought about it again until this moment.
I love that this happened. I envy, you know, the movie The Master, where they just sit around and they like hypnotize each other and remember like weird, obscure memories.
No, but when you said The Master, the movie I thought you were talking of is the one with Dana Carvey where he's dressed as the turtle.
The
but that's
Master of Disguise. Can we please do a supercut where it's
Mhm.
Phil Hoffman and they cut in scenes, but he's talking to him and he goes, turtle, turtle.
Yeah.
And it's the Master of Disguise.
Do you listen to Fly on the Wall by any chance?
What
David
is that?
Spade and Dana Carvey's
Occasionally,
podcast?
like, meaning
It's like free therapy for me.
really?
A little bit, yeah. It's like hearing people talk about. Imagine if you had a podcast where the best people who ever worked at your job talked about it and brought all these
Right.
other people who worked there and
Yes.
talked about it.
Right. Yes.
And
it
in
helps
a,
you
in a setting
decompress.
that's like you're getting to listen in without. Yeah, it's crazy.
What is it that you were looking to salve? I get it. But what were those feelings that needed addressing?
Oh, I mean, how long do you have? But what I was going to say quickly was
Quite a while.
Dana
Bobby.
Carvey spends 10 minutes addressing on the last episode the rumor that is going around the internet that he found out about 9/11 while dressed as the turtle on set. And that they had a moment of silence while he was in the turtle outfit and he had to like address the rumor that didn't happen this week. And it just might be my favorite
Piece of life.
room, like whoever
Yes.
started that or figured out that the time, I don't know what that is, but I love it.
Who?
And I felt
a,
he had to address it seriously was
somebody.
Amazing.
That seems like a weed thought. Like double-sided business card sounds like a cocaine thought. A weed thought is
that.
Wait, they were filming that in September of 2001. Like you
I
can kind of
guess. Like,
subtract.
so I'm trying to figure out, did somebody figure that out? And like,
That sounds like a very brilliant mind got very baked and was like, these movies take about a year to
someone's
edit.
watching that movie, picked up the DVD case in 2001. And just started giggling.
Did he take off the glasses?
Yeah.
What's the play? Do you take them off?
I think you
Yeah.
must
If
retreat
there's-
into your shell.
If there's a better outfit to hear about a tragedy in, I haven't heard. That's the only member of the animal kingdom that's ready for horrible news is the turtle. Show me a better equipped animal.
He's literally the master of it.
So that's the best place you could have been on 9/11. Where were you on 9/11? In a turtle shell. Thankfully. Thank God. That is
My favorite story. But no, that
yeah.
podcast is fantastic.
What
just
are
in
the,
sense
what's
of-
the salve? What's the salve?
Well, no, it's just I maybe this is just the easiest sentence to say. It's really comforting to hear all of these other people that you admire have the same fears.
Of course.
Maybe that's
Can
the real
you-
sentence.
For fun, because I guarantee I'm going to relate. What are the fears? What are these fears? What's one of them?
Well, I mean, like, I'm not getting on the show. I'm not funny anymore. Do these people like me? Am I an idiot?
You
Am
mean when
I
you're on SNL,
being,
like on the show?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Will they use me? I'm an idiot. I'm a fraud.
Well, yeah. I mean, every fear in the world. You know, it was my life's dream. It was all. You know, it was like we. I still can't believe it, and then all of a sudden it happens, and then you have to navigate that, and that was and like I don't think I realized until after I left that how I navigated it, or even if I did at some times, like I definitely didn't realize what was happening until I left, and I know that
Really?
now. Yeah,
9 years.
yeah.
And then after
yeah.
you were like, what? Oh, shit.
almost instantly went like whoa, and then like went back recently, and it was just like flipping a switch that had been turned like a 9 year. You do something for 9 years, and then you turn it off immediately,
Yeah.
and then you turn it back on for one night,
Yep.
and everything that I was afraid of went away. And it was just easy and fun and wonderful. And I was like, ah, man.
Yes.
Ugh.
You got the like, it's almost like when people have near-death experiences and then they go like, why is everyone so worried? Like, look at your serious face. Oh, I can't find parking at the mall. You know what I mean? And they're like, you're alive. So am I hearing you right that when all the stress was gone, you got to do SNL like Buddy the Elf, like a free person?
Yeah, I was like, I think my especially like my last episode of SNL, I got like really, really sick the morning of it. Like I was like vomiting sick, like on the ground. Like I can't, like if this wasn't my last show, I would be calling out.
Yeah.
And like got super, super sick, and it wasn't the most enjoyable. It was now in retrospect, like it was perfect. But like that morning I
As
was
a
not
story,
happy. I was
yeah.
not going, this is how I wanted it to end. Like, you know, like it wasn't the culmination I was hoping
Although
for, but then it
both
turned out to
times,
be.
your first time, Jimmy Pardo,
When Jimmy
Don
Pardo hosted.
never not funny. When Don Pardo said your name the first time,
Yeah.
he passed in between.
Mhm.
But your first SNL, you had liquid coming out of your eyes. Your last one,
Well, tears.
yeah, tears,
I don't know what that sounded really.
liquid. I'm an alien.
It sounded accusatory almost.
That's something Mark Zuckerberg would say. Why do you have liquid coming out of your
Like, yes, it would.
This is illogical. But then on your last episode, you had liquid coming out of your butt and mouth. That's what I was trying to bookend
Yeah.
your experience with liquid.
I was trying to think if that was true, and I was like, I think it was just my mouth.
Just your
I
mouth.
don't know if it was my butt.
Sometimes the butt sits it out. And you know what?
Thankfully, he gave
Respect.
me a little break.
Respect.
Little guy gave
Because-
me a break that day.
He's dealing with enough,
Man, well, tell me about it.
right?
Yeah.
I can't believe you were puking. Okay,
Oh, I was a mess.
so but we were talking about then when you came back, you were able to enjoy it. Don't let me put words.
It was just like you know, the second you get SNL, you start thinking about leaving when you're gonna host, and like, you know, like the 50th, like, you know, like it's
That's
like
so
there's
funny.
all these, you know, things you wonder, or at least I did and do, and sorry, the bird just
bird is
started
beautiful.
chirping, and it
Yeah,
was
it's a
beautiful,
beautiful
for
bird.
a moment.
I'm glad you heard that bird.
Yeah, thank you.
For a moment, that bird existed in arguably 3 consciousnesses: yours, mine, and Katie's.
I like to think that bird was Lorne Michaels telling me everything's gonna be okay.
Tweet, tweet.
I mean, you know, it's
Yeah,
like
you-
that thing where you fly by Pete Holmes' house. Oh boy, what was I saying? Where are we? What day is
That
it?
you enjoyed it when you came back, and
Yeah, it was like-
the first time you think about the 50th, you think about hosting.
In the middle of the pandemic, I got a text that was like, "Hey, do you want to come do Drunk Uncle for this cold open?" And I was like, "They asked." Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was very much a very nice feeling after
Yeah.
not being there for a while. And then my second thought was, "We're in the middle of the pandemic. I don't want to get on a plane." Like, and
Yes.
then by Tuesday it was cut, and part of me was devastated, and part of me was extremely fine with it.
Yeah,
And like just that alone, like that thing alone of like, well, they asked.
yeah,
I can take that with me. And like I think now I have learned the small battles of SNL is just like, stop. They asked.
yeah.
Move on with your life. Like now I'm better with not making it emotional and making it like
Your
"But
identity.
this is Saturday night live." Like, you know,
Yeah.
now it's just like
Yeah.
it's cut. Great.
You say it like in Torment, live from New York.
Oh God, I
It's
probably
Saturday
have.
night. And your wife is like, sweetie,
Yeah,
let's take a big breath. You just said live from New York at Saturday night in anger.
When the music comes on, you can see my shoulders and my wife. We're just like, it's like whenever we hear the music, it's like the tense.
You couldn't be in a safer place. You had your dream come, meaning this is right in my alley. You had your dream come true. But now in our 40s, looking back, I'm kind of like, it is a pressure cooker. It is kind of an insane, not a careful what you wish for, but like there had to be moments where you're like, let me put it this way. Let me ask. You went back and you saw all these optional
a completely
things.
different perspective.
Tell
Just
me.
like, well, I think it was like, it's this thing of like, you get there and Lauren was a little bit like, you made it here. Like the job is over.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like you did it. Now just act like it. And it's not that easy to say. Like he said essentially those words
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. Just act like you
Like
belong here.
relax and fucking act like you belong.
Yes.
Like kind of not in very more Lorne words.
Yeah. I heard
And
yep.
and remember thinking like, okay, pal, like that, like, oh, I'll do that. Hold on one second. Let me go talk to Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Because how do you act? Like, what do you do? Like,
Yeah.
and that. But now, as an adult, and also somebody who's gone through therapy and had both their parents pass away and has a child, and like, you know, there's a lot more real
Yeah.
life experience
Yeah.
rather than just like, and I wrote a sketch this week where I'm a suit salesman, like, real actual problems.
You have other tent poles. You have other fence poles, like
So-
more property.
Yeah, I think therapy alone changed everything.
What was it? What was that shift?
Realizing that there were maybe 2 things that made me get SNL, which is like being funny and like being able to take a mental beating.
Yeah, interesting.
Like being somebody who's like a good dumb soldier.
yes, I understand.
or
do you
in
look
some
at
capacity like this guy can withstand the insanity of what's about to happen.
Yeah.
He may not know it,
is it because
but like he can do it. He can withstand the insanity.
so many thoughts?
Yeah.
One, I feel exactly the same way. I'm wondering if you feel like that's linked to your childhood as I did. I was like a rowdy Saturday night at a club is nothing compared to the Holmes household. 2, let's start with that one. Like, do you think it was like you were bred to kind of withstand insanity? Like Jason Bourne?
Yeah. I guess I didn't even know that. Like in the year I finished SNL ended, I had been dating someone since before SNL, and we knew we were going to get married at some point, but like the SNL ended, got married, had a kid, and then my father and my mother passed away 6 months after and apart. So it was like within a
In
year,
a year, they both
just
passed.
like, just like all these major, crazy, insane changes.
Wow. Had you craving that Dana Carvey turtle costume?
You're damn right. And like finally started going to like therapy and like taking that part of life super seriously instead of just being like, I'm a funny weirdo and like, this is who I am, and like, started doing the work, like that, like whatever. And
Because it was hurting you.
I don't want to say like I was in a bad place. I was in a new place
That was bad.
that was awful. Where I wanted to stab my eyes. No, I'm just kidding.
You
No, I'm
wanted to
just
Equus
kidding.
yourself.
Uh,
But it was starting, what I'm hearing and what I want people to hear is there comes a point where therapy isn't just chit-chatting with a doctor. You go like, I need to knot some of these blocks in my psyche.
Well,
or it's going to hurt me.
I guess only because I had only been going for a little while. It was like when I first started, I was just like, I'm just paying someone to complain to them. And then it was realizing that that's not what I'm supposed to do. That's what I think. That's what I did with my mother.
Right.
And,
right,
and
right.
like that, like it's like, it's that.
Put on a show a little bit.
It's a little bit, I think what therapy a little bit taught me, and I think this, I was trying to explain this recently to my wife. It's like this, you experience this thing that you love, but then you realize that the thing that you love is not what it was, but then it kind of is, and then it's over.
Yeah.
And then you spend all this time thinking about that thing, but then you're like, I need to move on from that thing, and all this other life is happening.
Wow.
Well, now I'm going off on a crazy tangent, but
I
like,
hear you. It sounds like SNL is sort of like condensed milk. It's like you did a showbiz career condensed into 9 years. And all of that value and identity that we get from this external affirmation system that is our work, you got yanked out of it. And you also crammed it like they were making liver pate out of you. Like it got funneled into you in 9 years. And then you're not booted, but you're out. And you have to deal with that, like, who am I? Like, you had like an existential thing,
yeah,
right?
I think it's like when I look back now, it's like when I was 15, I was 25. When I was 25, I was 30. In my I was making like whatever, but then in my 30s, I was 15 again for 10 years.
So you had a brief
that makes
stint as
any
an adult
sense.
to get SNL.
So like in what I thought was like the start of like the new thing was actually like being knocked back a little bit. Mental, like it's like I don't think I really knew what was going on.
Is it
when I was there? I really don't. I think I was so taken. It was very space camp. Like I was so like, it didn't dawn on me till after. Just going back, I went like, oh, I would have done this completely differently if I had 9 years of therapy under my belt. Or
is it
not
because
9,
the behaviors that you undertook? I'm projecting onto you. This is what I've done to survive intense show business experiences. Were regressions. Were like going back to survival techniques, coping techniques. You're talking about being the guy that could take a beating or like deal with a lot of stress, but they weren't necessarily the healthiest ways to deal with them.
No.
The ask. You're being asked to do this very remarkable thing, and you were under-equipped. You hadn't learned how to.
But I could do it for like, it's like you didn't know.
That's I'm
it's
hearing
like-
you
it's
perfectly.
like-
Yes, you did it, and in fact, you were grateful that you could do it. You had this imperfect fuel running the machine, but the machine was still running. What did you learn that made the difference in therapy from that?
When I went back, I got a text saying, "Hey, Tom Hanks is in town. He's got nothing to do. He's here. It's Halloween. Do you want to do a
Mr. Pumpkins?
David Pumpkins, yes, Mr. Pumpkins.
He's Mr. Pumpkins
to
me.
everyone else, yes. And I was just like, "We'll see if this happens, sure." And it was really nice to not go like,
Yeah.
like they picked me, like and that was an initial shock where I went like, oh, you're doing okay.
Yeah.
Like you're doing a lot better.
What's between 1 and 2? Because when it comes to
I think just I'm right now where I'm at a place in my life where I'm good and like I feel okay
yeah,
and I'm happy. I love my wife and my family and
yeah.
we're about to have another kid and like
Oh, really?
yeah,
Congrats,
and like
man.
just like everything's great. Like work isn't as not overwhelming.
It doesn't get to define you.
Omnipresent. Like just like like there was a big major thing for a long time. Like it was SNL, then it was another sitcom, and then another sitcom, and now it's just kind of like a bunch of really fun stuff and doing new stuff. And I'm in a different place. Everything's great right now.
So you're saying I'm going to put my own twist on that. Once you were vulnerable in other areas of your life, getting married is a vulnerable thing, having a family is a vulnerable thing, but you allowed to trust other things to meet your needs other than this weird, I'm going to say for myself, a dysfunctional pay to play, earn your specialness, be the shiny boy. You start looking. I heard Seinfeld talk about family being like Neptune.
Who?
I just love it so much.
I'm not.
Jerry Seinfeld?
Oh yeah, I was in a movie he directed. I know that guy.
I want to hear
TV
about
show.
that. TV show Seinfeld.
Yeah.
He said when he got married and had kids, it was like moving to Neptune. He's like, I've done everything they've done on Earth. Let's see what they're doing on Neptune.
He has an amazing bit about we call family vacations, which he just calls them fight. He just calls family vacations, but they just call them as fighting in hotel rooms. It's very funny joke to me.
But once you move to Neptune, now you get these transpondencies from Earth, right? What I mean is family started meeting your needs. You started meeting your own needs and needing less David S. Pumpkins.
I'll always need David S. Pumpkins. The only reason I went back to SNL is David S. Pumpkins.
David SNL Pumpkins.
Well, no, Rita Wilson had a singing engagement in New York and Tom had nothing to do. That's why I went back to SNL. And knowing that and not like they picked and being able to say that sentence and be fine with it.
Yes.
is that to me is precious.
Was it finding anything about yourself? I'm assuming your wife and child have helped you learn your value outside of being chosen shiny special.
Yeah, but it wasn't like I don't want to. Yeah.
Like, does Bobby love Bobby a little bit more?
Yes. Oh, very much
Bobby
so.
loves
Very
Bobby
much
more.
so. Yes.
You've learned to forgive yourself, accept yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you were on SNL, you were more looking.
I'm not going to stop. I just need to continue to do it. Yes. I'm just more aware of it, and I think at around that time I was aware that I wasn't maybe being so kind to myself or treating myself well or just coping, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm really good at just moving on and just keeping myself busy or
You mean after
the show must go on, you know, kind of.
Did you suffer like particular abuses? Like were there moments looking back where you're like, I'm not looking, this isn't a gossip
At
show.
SNL?
Yeah, where it was just like, that wasn't cool.
Every day, 50 times? Right? I mean, everybody did. I mean, like, yeah.
What shapes did those take?
Punching.
No.
I'm
Just belittling, yelling?
I mean, I think just general fear and tiredness and every you know what I mean? Just like all across the board.
And it's got like that, it's probably got a New Yorkie flavor. Whenever we go to New York, like when I took Val to New York the first time, I was like, in New York, being polite is being quick. You go, turkey on rye. Like that's polite. If you go like, ha, what do you like? You're an asshole. It's the opposite anywhere else. So I have to imagine even the New Yorkiness of SNL and the time of it and the liveness of it, pressure cooker, and that must mean people aren't very kind always.
Oh, because of SNL, because of 9 years at SNL and the skill of the people who put on that show, any job that I have had since then, I am like, we can do this in 3 minutes. What you're doing can be done in a commercial break. Can we speed it up? Like I have like, I'm like, I'm like, when people come over and they like start going like this or like they touch my face like this and they walk away, I'm like, that didn't need to be done. Like I get like
You're the
instantly
guy that
livid.
goes, this meeting could have been an email.
Well, a little bit, just because like 9 years of just like it doesn't
feel that
matter,
way.
it doesn't matter, go the show,
Going
it doesn't
from
matter.
multicam back to single cam, you're just like, we
No.
could have been done. And SNL
Oh, I
is
saw the
another
different
step.
end of the spectrum. I mean, Ted Danson only works 8 hours a day, and like from start to finish. So it was like
Wow.
I went from the hardest possible job you can do, hours wise and mentally, I think, to the
Best.
Ted Danson schedule, and like it was real nice for 2 seasons.
You got to get in that dancing.
Well, yeah, you do.
You got to get in that dancing.
Yeah, the greatest.
I ran into him not that long ago, and he just seems so leisured.
Yeah,
Just
he's. I feel like he is
kind and
it's-
smooth.
You immediately, as an actor, you are immediately aware that you are around somebody who has been in the business long enough that they know how to pace their day,
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
and it's a value
protect
to
themselves.
them.
And
Yeah,
protect themselves.
yeah.
And my favorite, I've told it a million, but I'm going to tell it to you in case it spawns other
Spurns other humans.
other humans. Somebody was working with Teddy D, and after a take, he walked back over to the actors and he goes, "Isn't acting embarrassing?" And I just think that's the best. I think
That
about
is
that all the
you
time.
almost heard his voice when you said
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
isn't acting embarrassing? It's just like that is so fucking funny to me and so true. It's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
It's embarrassing. There's a crew
silly.
around and you have to be like, you can't talk to me. And then you'll cut and then you eat Reese's Pieces. That's an insane person.
And you look at your phone to see what's happening in actual life.
Yeah, that's right. It's crazy. Do you have any
take your
tidbits?
diaper off.
Are there any tidbits that you've gathered about show business, about acting, about whatever, little mantras like that? Acting's embarrassing. Something somebody whispered in your ear in a key moment, a clutch moment. Anything come to mind?
Nope.
Did Lorne Michaels really tell you to eat a sandwich?
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Really? I thought for sure you were going to 9/11 turtle that story. That's the rumor that I heard. But this is why I feel okay.
Well,
asking
it was
you.
like I mean, like I think I've told that before. Yeah, I'm gonna say I am 99.999% sure that he came up to me and said at one point what happened to my big guy when I lost weight, and then when I was
What happened to my big guy?
yeah, like a little bit like that, and then when I was like the other one, like oh maybe not that sandwich, or like it was both sides of it. It was
Wait,
like
he
when
was
I
telling
was
you to
too
get-
big. I remember the sentence, "You look like a tick about to pop."
He said that to you?
Yeah,
You look like a tick about to pop.
and I did, but also now I know like. Yes, those words were said, but the way they were said is important.
Yes.
And I can delineate that now of like, I'm not, like it wasn't chaotic and hectic at the time, but now I can go, he wasn't wrong. He was trying to explain to me in a nice way, and I might have been a little emotional and been like trying, and he was just like, Bobby, like he's, first thing Lauren tells you is he's not your father, but he's your father. and he knows it. And like, and I like, that's like, I think that's the sentence.
Yeah.
Like, I think like
Yeah.
that for me it was the realization of
Yeah.
like, a couple of those things were said, but maybe they were said for a reason.
Mm.
And I remember them now, and I think I can remember things that were said to me at that place where I'm not happy, and those comments that he made for that were not them. Like I
not
don't
in
think
that good
back in those
nature.
and go like I almost go like I see why. If that makes any sense, I know it's
Kind
a
of.
little victim blamey of myself, but like,
Yeah.
but
it's
like,
interesting.
I truly mean it. Like, it's like I was, well, maybe not the confusion of making me battle against myself. That's a little rough.
Yeah. And he is your dad.
Biologically, we found out.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Still, I'm not.
Nothing's coming up.
I see a face, but I don't know whose it is, man.
It's Ryan Hamilton in a wig. Ryan Hamilton's a comedian who looks a lot like Jerry Seinfeld, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
When we come back, we're going to take a little break. I want to talk.
45 minutes seems long.
What do you mean?
Up for a break. I just want to say that.
We're going to take a 45-minute break.
It just feels long. I'm just going to say that right now.
We're going to take a 45-minute break, but you guys will be right back. I do want to talk more about food. I want to talk a little bit about, well you'll see.
Did we talk about food in the first
Well, we're
part?
into food now.
Are we?
Yeah, we're talking about him telling you to eat a sandwich.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
I
I
just
wanna talk
didn't make the correlation. Now I have, because that sandwich is food.
I didn't make my own corn.
I guess I went
coronation.
more like, ooh, were we talking? Like, I love good food. And I got like excited, but then I realized you were talking about trauma.
Trauma.
Yeah.
Do you ever salve your trauma with trout? Yeah?
No.
We'll be right back.
We talk a lot about anxiety and depression on the show, and I've personally struggled with both, and have friends who have been debilitated, completely derailed by both. And I also have friends whose lives have been transformed by guided ketamine therapy. So I'm so happy to be working with MINDBLOOM for this episode, because sometimes it's not as simple as a new therapist or exercise, meditation, or diet. Sometimes you need something new to unlock your brain, and maybe that thing is guided ketamine therapy from MINDBLOOM. There's a new tool to improve your mental health, at-home ketamine therapy. At home. And MINDBLOOM is the leader in at-home ketamine therapy, having safely helped thousands of people overcome their anxiety and depression. Unlike traditional talk therapy, ketamine works quickly and doesn't have the unpleasant side effects of traditional antidepressants. In fact, in a study of over 1,200 MINDBLOOM clients, 89% reported improvements in their anxiety and depression after only 2 sessions. It's incredible. And right now, MINDBLOOM is offering our listeners $100 off your first 6-session program when you sign up at mindbloom.com/YMIW and use promo code YMIW, like you made it weird, YMIW. So take the first step and break free from your anxiety and depression with MINDBLOOM. Mindbloom.com/YMIW and use promo code YMIW. We are also brought to us by our friends at BLUELAND. Did you know we are eating and drinking roughly a credit card's worth of plastic a week? Yeah, that's right. The products we're using every day are ultimately contaminating our water supply, generating hundreds of microplastics that we end up ingesting. Luckily, our friends at BLUELAND set out to do something about it, to eliminate the need for single-use plastic in the products we reach for the most, like hand soap. Did you know that an estimated 5 billion plastic hand soap bottles and cleaning bottles are thrown away each year? And if that's not bad enough, most cleaning formulas are 90% water, which is heavy to ship, leading to excessive carbon emissions. It's a huge waste, not to mention the nasty ingredients in them like chlorine and ammonia. But BLUELAND is reinventing cleaning essentials to be better for you and the planet by offering endlessly refillable cleaning products with a beautiful, cohesive design that looks great on your counter. Just fill the bottles with water, drop in the tablets, and wait for them to dissolve. Hand soap, toilet bowl cleaner, and laundry tablets, all with clean ingredients you can feel good about. No more bulking cleaning supplies on your grocery run. And refills start at just $2.25. That gets even lower if you subscribe or buy in bulk. I recommend their Clean Essentials Kit, which has everything you need to get started and comes in beautiful light scents such as iris agave, fresh lemon, and eucalyptus mint. And BLUELAND has an offer just for weirdos. Get 15% off your first purchase of any product and get cleaning products that I love the look of and love that they're good for you and good for the planet. To get 15% off your first order, go to blueland.com/YMIW. You won't want to miss this. blueland.com/YMIW. That's blueland.com/YMIW. All right, let's get back to Bobby.
And we're instantly back for us. You and
Yeah.
I are instantly back.
I know, but for me, it was 48 minutes. You
Yeah, we did
lied.
take
There
a
was
long-
3 extra.
Bobby took a nap.
Yeah, I fell asleep.
It was a really
I
weird.
haven't slept in 6 days.
Is that true?
Yeah, no.
How far along is your wife with baby number 2?
We're due like soon.
Wow. What's
Yeah.
the age diff between the two?
One will be 6 and one will be born soon.
Okay, interesting. Because my wife and I kicking that soccer ball around, and we're going like, do we want another one? And we're kind of like, maybe it's just the 3. So my daughter's already 4. So the 6-year difference, interesting. Some people say that's the best.
We'll see. I don't know. First time.
I'll be curious. First time.
Do you make a lot of big decisions over kicking around a soccer ball?
Yeah.
I think that's really smart. I think that makes it
Physical.
It gives you something to focus on while also making a life decision.
It's like you have your best ideas while driving.
and true.
Or, yeah.
Showering. I
Or
find,
showering.
too.
Yeah. Some other activity. I was just thinking about that today.
Bathrooms and cars.
Long haul drivers probably have brilliant, I'm not making a joke. I bet they have brilliant ideas because they're
William
occupying.
Shakespeare?
William Shakespeare was
Long
a
haul
long haul
driver.
Who?
Long haul driver. William Shakespeare.
I can see a face.
He was in B movie.
Oh, yeah. Tell me a Seinfeld directing you story. Was he a good director? What was it in?
He made this movie called Unfrosted for Netflix, and I can't wait. I mean, like,
Oh, for Pop-Tarts.
yeah. It's like based off of one of his first bits about the creation of the Pop-Tart,
Yes.
and it's really cool. And I can't wait for. I can't wait to if it comes out. I can't wait.
It'll come out. Brian Regan also has one of the best Pop-Tart bits of all time, which is like he's talking about how they have instructions, and it's like, who needs instructions for a Pop-Tart? He goes, put the Pop-Tart in horizontally, and he goes, oh, he's trying to figure out which way is horizontal. It's one of the best bits of all time. What was it like being directed
making
by
a
him, though?
competing movie that's coming out.
Yeah,
the
I heard that
same-
called Frosted.
Yeah.
You do want it
Weird.
unfrosted.
Yeah.
A frosted Pop-Tart is.
And Paul Blart Mall Cop is in it as a character.
Is this real?
No.
Is this real life?
Didn't they do like 2 of those Paul Blart kind of movies? It was like a Seth Rogen one and a Paul Blart one.
It was an Armageddon Deep Impact.
That was just that's what I was.
It was the lesser. No, but it's the lesser known Armageddon Deep Impact was
Mhm.
Paul Blart and
Search and Destroy, Seek and Destroy. No,
I know what you're thinking, but it wasn't
Stop and Frisk.
Stop and Frisk.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think that's
No,
it.
it's not that. What is
Seth Rogen is in it. He's the Paul Blart in it.
That's right. I was thinking if I was going to laugh, but you just told me a fact.
There's so many people screaming at their
Oh yeah, radios.
right now.
But
Fuck you guys.
unrelated.
Fuck you guys. No,
You're saying
I
it?
don't know why. I don't know why.
I'm curious with the sandwich thing, where you seem healthier, happier. How are you? I'm one of those guys on set. I want to eat my stress. I want to eat my anxiety. Where are you?
The
Where are you
difference
with
is
nibbles?
this, I think. I think if like 2 or 3 years ago you had asked me the sandwich question,
Yeah.
and I would have like panicked all night tonight
Really?
about like, is Lauren gonna find out?
That you,
I think that the reality is like I think like now I'm okay with answering a question like that because I'm an adult. And, like,
well, yeah.
and I can figure out that like
Well, it's funny that you put
I
it
can
that way
say
because if
things and
he's
deal
your
with it.
dad, then you're a child.
yeah, I feel less like a child than I did when I was there. I was a child.
But you had to
A
get out
child.
and stake your own claim.
That's a fantastic way of thinking about it. Yeah, I was and I think I maybe said it by accident, which is I felt more like an adult when I was 15, and then
Yeah.
when I was on SNL, I felt like a child again. I felt
Right.
like,
Right.
huh? Like, especially coming from UCB, where it was like, we're gonna do improv, we're gonna sleep in the theater, and we're gonna do it every night for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're doing improv, and it's not. And there was just like, there was a mentality of like, you know, like that. And like SNL was like, do you guys want to go to the studio and do improv? And it was like, no.
Wow.
Like that wasn't it wasn't the same. Let's all go do improv together. You know, I don't think it was the same vibe.
more cutthroaty.
Where I didn't. Well, I think I was more naive. I was more like, we did it. We're on SNL, and like they were like, I'm tired, man. We had 6 shows this week. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's like the reality of what was really happening.
Right.
My first couple years was not there.
It's a disillusioning. This is going to
I
sound.
felt very Michael Scotty. When I
Yeah.
think back on my time at SNL, that to me is the way. Those 2 words are.
Michael
I felt
Scott?
a little like Michael Scott. Like I thought I knew what I was doing,
Right.
but I didn't.
And also, you were very excited as Michael Scott would have been.
Like why? Yeah, like you know, like you love him, but
Right.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, you keep stepping in it.
yeah.
Were there
yeah.
moments where you really stepped in it, where you were just coming in with the wrong energy?
Well, I just think I misrepresented. I think I had no idea what was going on, and I may have just been better to say, I don't know what's going on, or in certain situations, just not get upset. I don't know. I just,
Right.
you know, you second guess everything. But also, I think it's this. It's like Seth when I first got the show, I remember Seth saying, like, congratulations, you'll never talk about anything else again. And it's true. That was like the most true thing.
Seth Meyers.
Yeah.
He's like, this is going to be the poll you're
Seth
measured by.
Rogen. No, I'm just kidding.
I thought you meant Seth Rogen
No,
for some
Seth Meyers.
reason.
And like, that's true. And it's like, it always gets back to it. If no family conversation, no matter what, everyone just goes like, hey, that's great. You wrote a book. That's great. But let me ask you a question.
Yeah, of
like,
course.
No matter what.
That's in Jay Moore's book. He says he was in Jerry Maguire with Tom Cruise, and then he did a late night show, and they go from SNL. And he's like, I was in Jerry Maguire, which is a very, very big movie.
Yeah, wow.
Big part in a big movie.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter. It's the guy from SNL. Speaking of Jay Moore, he had like panic attacks on set. Did that ever, anything like that ever happen to you where your physical state was getting in the way?
Yes. I have I remember reading his book like 3 or 4 times throughout my time there, and it was like every time it was different.
Wow.
It was actually like that book in particular is a really interesting one and was super helpful because in the beginning it felt like a what not to do at SNL guidebook, and then by the end it was like, wow, that was super helpful. Like just hearing like the podcast, just hearing somebody else saying I went through this and this was my story
Right.
in any capacity
Right.
was wonderful because there's not a lot of free information over at SNL. And that's another thing that I learned at SNL, which is the kind of you being in the one who's in the room, just like I'm not the one who's in the room.
What do you mean?
There's a room where they make the decisions
And
at
you're not in that
SNL,
room.
and I am not in that
You're
room,
the
and it is
opposite
not
of
my job
Hamilton.
to be in that room.
Yeah.
And I think I always wanted to be in that room,
Yeah.
and I wanted to know what was going on in that room, and I think now that I understand that it was not my job to be in that room, and that I was better off,
Not being
me
there.
personally, much better off not being in that room.
It seems that when I'm hearing you talking about it now that there's a relief. Like, oh, maybe David S. Pumpkins is back. David S. Pumpkins isn't back. Either way, Bobby's walking down the street. You know what I mean?
I wish I could say it was that easy, but there was definitely like, I can't believe I get to do SNL. I can't believe I get to do. And from the moment they sent the text, it was the only thing I thought about the entire, was show week.
Yeah.
100% back exactly where I was emotionally,
Yeah.
just like it's a show week.
Wow.
Was writing drunk uncle jokes just in case, and then that had like it was like, you want to do a drunk uncle? And I was like, yes. And like
Right?
it was.
But you have to act like it's cool.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is
if
knowing.
you want to.
Yeah,
All these note cards called Drunk Uncle spell out.
it was just easier. It was that. It was seeing that and going like, you don't have to, just relax.
Yeah.
And I had a wonderful time, and like just going back and writing with the like update guys, and like I was taken by just like it didn't dawn on me like, oh my God, like I'm about to have a 2-hour rehearsal. Like I did this every Thursday and Friday for 9 years, and like seeing everyone so tired and gutted at the end of the week, and being like, but also going like, oh, it's so weird to be in this room, and like the 2 people I know the best are Kenan Thompson and Tom Hanks.
Wow.
Like, like that's weird. Like, it's like everyone's got, like it was a brand new thing.
Yeah.
So that was also helpful, like for moving on. And like,
Mm.
I haven't talked about it in so long that like out loud and not therapy. And like, it's
No, it's very
a hard thing
interesting.
to process, I guess.
Of course it is. Look at some of the sentences you just said in that last paragraph. Here's a weird one. Last performance-y question, then we'll move into Bobby the Man.
The sex stuff.
The sex stuff. I'm just curious, as a person to this day,
Mhm.
if you have a show, the Hollywood Bowl with the Muppets, what are you doing to get into a peak state for you to perform? Like, what is your nothing?
No, I mean, I that one in particular, like that. My parents were not there for that, and I wish they were, for the sole reason of like, I had a baby like 12 days before that, and then
Whoa.
flew to moved to California, started a sitcom, started shooting a sitcom, and did those rehearsals, and did essentially a full Broadway show with the Muppets.
Yeah.
At the Hollywood Bowl for like the first time they had ever done that really at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
Like something like that. Like a show.
Yep.
Now they do it all the time. And like.
Oh, I'm doing
did
it
I
later
get-
today.
I was going to say did I get points off?
Yeah, I don't care though. I don't like how you're saying that.
Um,
just kind of an
that show
attitude.
was absolutely insane. I have no clue how I did that.
But as
one.
an improviser and a SNL person and a Hollywood bowler, you don't have like a thing, like you have a show in 3 hours. What are you going to do?
Oh,
How are you getting
that show in
mentally-
particular, I just chain smoked cigarettes. Like I don't smoke anymore, and like I could quit for a long time, but I was extremely stressed, and I just remember standing like in the Hollywood Bowl, looking at it, just going like, and the Muppets rehearsing, and just going like, what is happening? And I'm in a corner, just chain smoking, going like, what is happening? Yeah, I think it's that. Just keep.
and then you just hear a voice, hey, can I bum one?
Well,
Hey.
I feel like that was life for 20 years, was just like insane shit like that. Like, yeah, like you're walking and you're panicked and you're dressed like a moose, and then Sarah Palin walks by and pretends to shoot you with a fake shotgun, and you go, that happened, and then you move on, and then someone slights you, and then you're like, what was that about? And then it was
Yeah.
just, it was,
Yeah.
It was insanity.
Just the
yeah,
of-
and now it's not as fast.
Right. You have the time to process. Have you ever? I do want to talk a little bit about your parents. How did they pass? And why 6 months apart? What's going on?
They murdered each other.
They murdered each other.
That's
With
the worst. That's
pill-
the worst.
A pill that took 6
the
months.
worst joke I've ever made in my entire life. I
didn't
think.
even feel anything in my body.
They did not murder each other.
How could they? 6 months.
My dad, alcoholic for most of his life, sick for a long time. The end of it, eventually, complications of COPD.
Is that liver stuff?
Breathing,
Oh.
lungs.
Okay.
Smoker for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 months later, my mom out of nowhere.
It's
Had,
like Old Testament stuff, like
yeah,
died of a broken
just like
heart
a
sort of thing.
crazy thing, and then supposed to have surgery, couldn't do it,
Were you-
sepsis, and
Were you close with your folks?
very, very.
And then you had just gotten married, or you got married after they passed?
I was married.
So they were there.
Yeah, had a kid. 6 months later, dad. 6 months later, mom, like we're around there kind of timing.
And that was
maybe 3 months later, and then 6 months. I honestly don't even know anymore.
What shape did that take in your life? How much of it? What kind of a disruption was that in your life, and what did it lead to?
It was huge, but like so many things have been huge. The pandemic, you know what I mean? Like it's just like it was such an insane time for so long that it is all now kind of like melded into one chunk of like insanity. But
One chunk of insanity. That's your next book.
yeah. What was the question?
What shape that disruption took in your life? Like, what did it do to you?
I think it just like everything else, it just made me a little smarter and wiser about everything, but also made me realize that not everything is, that you can't let everything get to you and be life or death. You have to just, some stuff it happens, and you gotta. I think about my mom and my dad, like the best thing they could have done, like now, like it's terrible, but you think in those moments, like if I had to do, like my dad was sick and like stuff, like if they were around for the pandemic, like I don't know what would have happened.
Oh,
like,
right,
so
yeah.
like there's this cosmic thing of like those assholes bowed out
Yeah.
on purpose. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, I like to think like,
I
in
feel
those
that way about
moments you have,
Ram Dass died right before the pandemic, and it was kind of like it's almost it's comforting to think that he was like, I'm going to leave now. You know what I mean?
yeah, there was a
before
little
that.
bit of that. Like, I mean, like the night my dad, like, was like, yeah, there was a little bit of that. And I think I learned that. I think I learned that, I think what happened was like child before that.
Yeah.
A little bit more on my way to being an adult now than I was before that. I thought I was, but I wasn't.
Right.
And I think that'll continue for the rest of my life, probably.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I understand that now. And I'm enough.
God damn it.
Yeah.
It's funny that Stuart Smalley, those things he says are kind of good things.
Kind of great things. It
You
was
know what
like
I mean?
it was a great thing.
Yeah.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough, and people like me.
Yeah.
It's not. Now it's not silly. Now it's not a joke. Now it's like,
Because back then that sort
can
of
you
stuff
believe it?
was
That-
even more fringe.
Do you want to know something that's really depressing? My wife. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
The end.
My
wife.
daughter, my wife, and I really enjoy. My daughter's super into Wednesday Addams Family, but it's so rough to think that like when Addams Family came out, the big joke was like, can you believe it? He adores his wife.
Oh my
Can you believe this? They're
God.
so weird. She likes him even though he's ugly, and he respects her. Like, and like
That
it's so
was the-
depressing.
That was the joke.
The big joke was
And also-
like, they're monsters. He's in love with her. He treats her well.
That is so funny.
And the whole thing was like, can you believe that is with that?
Right.
Like it's like the
And he
most.
was, I
the
know he's a
whole joke-
monster, but he was foreign too, right?
Well, in
It
the original one, he had like he had a certain look to him, and now they have adopted that look for the animated series, which
Yeah.
is the greatest.
yeah.
And like they hired Louis Guzman for the show and have Catherine Zeta-Jones. It's not a conventionally handsome guy. Like Raul Julia is very handsome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even then, they couldn't
Right.
think of hiring somebody who wasn't handsome. Like it's just like it's so funny to me. Like that just dawned on me recently, and I love the Addams Family now so much more.
I feel like it's almost like I can relate to having like my best friend in not junior high, grade
John
school.
Candy.
John Candy, my best friend John Candy, Uncle Puck to me. But my best friend Miguel, his parents
Different
were
guy.
like crazy about each other. They were Colombian. And like I remember that feeling like distinctly non-American. How like he'd like kiss her hand and stuff. So I feel like the Addams Family was taking that sentiment that it's like, this isn't the dad at the grill with the beer tolerating his wife. They're one of those clearly sexually active couples that's like I remember looking through one of his dad's journals. I don't know how he found it. And he had sketched his wife naked. And I don't think it was like a secret. It wasn't like, don't look at that. It was like, yeah, your wife.
It was just after
my mom,
dinner.
Your mom is beautiful.
Yeah.
I drew her naked. And it was like, I'm over here going like, this is the Addams Family to me. Where's the hand? This is great. Where's the hand? Speaking of monsters, have you ever seen a ghost?
A real ghost?
Yeah.
Not confirmed.
What's your unconfirmed ghost?
I mean, like I think I have a couple true. No, I'm just kidding. The first thing I thought of was me and Billy Quinn in high school. Shout out Billy Quinn.
Edit that out.
He saw a rock in the thing. He was like, "That's a spaceship," and I was just like, "You're right," and it wasn't a spaceship. But we spent the whole afternoon looking at the quarry, talking about it, and
Blazing weed?
no,
Just looking at a rock.
That was not. I was not that kid. I was like college. Yeah, no.
Just watching a rock
May have been playing G.I. Joes and stopped
to go.
to comment about Billy trying to get me riled up that there was an alien invasion in Eastchester, and there wasn't.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is like a ghost story, but like my mom had an experience that she can't explain, and she was very much someone who never spoke about that thing and only kind of talked about it once, where she talked about how her father passed away right before my sister was born, and that she cannot explain it, but she's like, he walked into the hospital room and said "Quando Sabella," which is she's so beautiful, or in Italian, and walked out. And she's like, I can't explain it, I don't know, but that happened. And she's like, I don't know what to say about it, kind of thing. And like, we
Her
only
dead
talked
dad
about it.
walked into the room?
She claims, like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and it's like, I don't know, like, it's like, and it's very well. She's having I might now have been through a birth,
Yeah.
so now I go, a million things could have happened that
Right.
made her really think that was true for the rest of her life.
Yes, sure.
So, and I'll never know now.
Just
So
an Italian doctor visiting. She's full of epidural.
somebody said it. It looked like her. You know, who knows? You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I have no idea how to explain that.
Sure. Or it happened.
Or it was the ghost of her father, and she just saw it for that millisecond, and some higher power granted her a moment that will stay with her and still
Until
is
the rest-
inside all of us.
And now it's
Because we're all
in
the
us as
same.
well. Non-dual love. Have you ever almost died?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think one time in the Galleria parking lot, I almost got hit by a car. My mom like dropped her purse. I was real little, and like I think like I almost got creamed right there. But
Really?
yeah,
Yeah, somebody pulled me out of traffic once. It's scary. It's scary that we're walking around with these human squishers.
all the time.
And we get in them, and then
Mhm.
we're the human squisher.
hmm
But it's crazy that it's not happening more.
I'm not a human squisher right now, but I will be when I leave here. Isn't that?
in your
And I
car.
was earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. My friend,
John
Chris,
Candy.
my friend John, Uncle Buck to me, Chris Mars had this great joke about, he was like, when we get in our cars, it was like, then you're a car. And when you're walking, you're a pedestrian and you're anti-car. Then he was like, and then people on bicycles are like Blade. They're like day walkers. They can go both ways. Like they get the benefits of car. They're in the road, but they also run red lights. You know what I mean? Like they're the day walkers.
The last time I was in, I grew up in New York. The last time I was in New York, I was taking a car and looking at the buildings, and I got like real crazy, and I was like, those are just everyone's in there. Like, I don't know why. Like the sides of the buildings went away. Like, you would just see like
Schenectady.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
The
if you
Charlie
just took
Kaufman.
the shell off,
take it
you
off.
could just see all the rooms and like individual homes and lives.
Filled with people.
I don't know why. Like, it really got me. I think just not being there in a while, like, I really just looked and went,
Stacks.
this is bizarre. These are just anthills, man.
They
Like-
are. There's stacks of
Yeah,
people.
it's crazy. It was so, I don't know why. Just very
And we
apparent.
don't want to see it. That's why it's reflective glass. It's like, don't think about what this is. This is a building. It's an anthill. Fucking A, dude.
It's just a place to stay.
You do psychedelics?
Not now. I mean, like, I didn't really ever. I tried. I feel like I tried everything once. That's not even true. That's I had my fun and tried stuff, but then like
It was never for
nothing
you.
stuck. I like smoked weed a bunch. That's it.
Yeah.
But like everything else kind of was
Faded.
either this year or this night, and that's it.
Right.
Or like, yeah, I was never that adventurous.
I love it. And
I'm lazy all around, even in my drug use.
Your comedy partner is Charlie Sanders, or was. Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys still do stuff. I've told this story before. I'm not going to tell it in its entirety. But we had an audition at House. Remember House
I do.
on the far
Wait.
west side?
It was like a long room, and there was like audition things on either side.
Kind of.
Probably not, but go on.
It was on like 15th, way by the river on the west side.
Okay.
Anyway, I had an audition there, and it was for a hidden camera, Papa Gino's or whatever, Domino's. And it was they just wanted improvisers that could pretend to be chefs that would trick people, would serve them Papa Gino's or whatever it was. They'd eat it and would go, psych, that's Papa Gino's. Like in a 5-star restaurant. Hey, guess what? And he was my scene partner. And we wept. I can't
He's
look at
one
him
of the
without
funniest
laughing.
people in the world.
That's what I mean. Talk about Sinbad. Some people just are funny. He would just look at me. I'd be like,
Sinbad's his fault.
what?
I mean, like why I love Sinbad. Like, I think like we found each other. He used to tell me about this tape that he had. Where whatever, I'm mangling it. A joke that Sinbad did about if Dracula was chasing. If Dracula is chasing you,
And he
just
trips his
turn
girlfriend.
around and trip him.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And just about tripping Dracula, or that it was like.
it's tripping your girlfriend so Dracula catches your
Well,
girlfriend.
that joke. Well, it
Yeah.
got mangled in the retelling, and we just bonded on that, and like we love Sinbad together. I love
can't
him.
believe
with all
that-
my heart.
I likened him to Sinbad, and you guys like Sinbad together. It's pretty fucking weird. He's just one of those guys that he would be doing a straight line. I'd be like, guess what? That's Papa Gino's. And he'd be like, what? And I would just
Yeah, he's
weep with laughter. And we left and we were like, well, that was a waste of our time. And we got callbacks. We almost got it.
of course.
They
Yeah,
liked
he's
us.
one of those people. He's one of those people like Neil Casey that can just like
Yes.
he's an assassin in so many different ways. Like he's smart.
Yeah.
But he's also got this like alpha. Like it's hard to be an alpha in improv if that's a real thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
and he's got it.
Yeah.
Like even just intellectually.
Yes.
I think he's
Just-
knees.
I just wanted to give him a
cream of the
shout.
crop.
Let's do a speed round and get you out of here. It's been awesome. Speaking of improv, tell me the greatest lesson you've learned about improv. Something that you hold on to that maybe somebody told you that you take on stage with you. A North Star of improv, or just good advice for people that are doing it.
Oh God, I was gonna like try and say something not real.
Oh my
not
God.
funny, but like
Where you're like, look, if you're wearing shoes,
no, I was gonna go more like you don't have to do it for more than 33 minutes ever.
there you
Like
go. Yeah, keep it
like,
short.
I was gonna like, but I feel like that was slamming improv a little bit.
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
but that I also think is true now. Like I do think that.
That's hilarious.
That's just because I'm a dad and I want to go home.
Yeah.
And I factor in the drive now.
Yeah.
But I didn't do that a long time ago.
I'm with you.
I honestly think now maybe it's just like UCB taught us all like the don't think and the yes and all that stuff, but then I just go like I think the best part about like looking back now, if I had to tell somebody or if I had to tell my daughter what was the best part about it was just like it's less about the shows and more about just like did you meet 20 people, like-minded people who find it funny and like to go to the same place and do this weird, silly thing and figure it out and not.
It was that. It turns out it was that.
Like, yeah, it was more just like the whole experience of it was super fun and like the performing is super fun. Like that's where, but it's like that's the selfish part of it now. Like it's like
Right,
you
right.
realize now, like
This is again a near-death experience. You go like, wait, it was all just an excuse to hang out.
yeah.
I love that. What about? I was gonna say comedy, but that might be too vague. I'm gonna ask you: is there a great lesson you've learned about comedy? Something that you hold on to?
Now that you say that, more recently, I think it was like it was probably some TikTok or something. Like I don't know, you know those shows where it's just like in a dark room and there's a circle table and it's like Oscar Isaac, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Hanks, Jim Carrey. Like you know, it'll just be this
Vanity
assortment.
Fair presents. Yeah.
Like this like assortment of actors talking about acting, and it always makes me laugh a little bit. Like it's very funny. Like if like the world was over and these were the only people around, like we'd have like a pretty good movie. And that's it.
That's
Like-
it. But that's it.
Yeah, I
No
think
food
so.
or water.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But in that when you realize like we are in this world and Tom Hanks is sorry, I'm being long-winded. He said something recently about like
Tommy Hanks.
about working on maybe it was Splash and being friends with Penny Marshall. So he thought he was able to like he went to the dailies every day when they watched the dailies, and that was something like whatever. And she was like, she talked to him in a certain way because number one, because it's Penny Marshall and she's awesome and she's the coolest. And because she was being very honest with him, was like, you can't come to these. Like we talk about you, we make fun of you. Like we might say something you don't like. Like you can't come to these anymore. Stop coming.
You're ruining it.
Like, you know, like, well, not only that, but it's also like, it's not your job. It's not your place.
Yeah,
you don't
stay
need to
in your
know
lane.
this. And
Stay
we're
in your
going to
lane.
say you look bad
Yeah.
or the lighting is wrong and you're going to take it personally because you're an actor.
Yeah.
And just kind of the way he explained that of like being in the room and not needing to be in the room and knowing when that, like that for some reason recently has stuck with me.
Well, that's
as
what you were
like,
just saying about SNL. You didn't need to be in that room.
yeah, or knowing when you need to be and that it's okay that you're not because
Yeah. That seems like a show. I was going to ask you specifically about show business, but that's a great showbiz answer too. It's like you know which room you need to be in, right?
yeah.
What about marriage? Here you are,
Yeah.
married for a while now.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
What is it-
we're in a really great place right now. We
Like
have
an Adam-
not been.
Always.
No, I'm just kidding.
Hilarious.
Being stupid.
Are you an Addams family? What are you going to say to that?
We have a giant butler, if that's what you mean.
I just mean, what is a guiding star for you for marriage to stay happy, stay healthy in your marriage?
We've gotten really good at that recently, where we're getting really good now. We had like a conversation recently about how like it's funny that like we respect each other now, and like that's an actual thing.
It's like a new thing.
like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, no, like you've been together so long, and
Yeah.
you know, like when we were kids, like we had no idea, and like we went through everything together, and
Yeah.
it's just like now it's very funny to get to a point where you're just like, hey, remember when we were awful to each other and we had no idea?
Yeah. So all that therapy and growth obviously helps
yeah.
everything. What about fatherhood?
The best. I mean, the best.
Yeah.
scary, and like especially now having the second one, it's funny. It's like it's happening soon, and I'm a little like, oh yeah, I gotta also think about that too a lot more.
Right.
It's easier. It feels easier the second time. You're like, I'll just get that baby and I'll do that. I'm like, it's not that easy. Like,
Right,
you know, it's
right.
like I gotta. I think I'm a little bit naive right now before the storm. is gonna
Right.
happen.
Well, what is
That's
the
the phrase. I'm
advice?
a little naive before the storm.
Yeah. In the eye of the storm,
In
we're
the eye of the
bold.
storm is when you butter your
Outside.
mustard.
I've so enjoyed this conversation, and I'm so glad that I'm
How
coming
much do
in
I owe you?
$75.
I was gonna say for
Canadian.
the session. Yeah,
75
I
Canadian.
have that on
Oh,
me.
great. Well, everything shoots in Canada, I assume.
Yeah.
This is the last question, but I want you to take your time with it, meaning you don't have to feel rushed or booted. Can you think of a time in your life when you laughed? I told you about what me and Charlie, that was one of the hardest times I've ever laughed. Just tears. It was also because it's like church laughter. You're not supposed to. They're filming us.
Mhm.
We're fucking it up. We're blowing it. But I couldn't look at him. I just start weeping with laughter. Then eventually he starts laughing. Can you tell me a story like that, or a time in your life? Maybe you were young. Maybe somebody fell. Maybe somebody farted. Maybe you were in church. Some situation, a funeral. You're not supposed to laugh. Can you tell me about a time when you laughed so hard that you cried?
Oh, I hate that one didn't just immediately come to mind.
That's why I give all the falling, farting. You'd be shocked how much it's falling and farting. It could be SNL, like pitching something that was just
It's
stupid.
funny. I have a very distinct memory of me, Jay Farrow, and Cecily just one night just getting like, I don't know what, like it wasn't a common occurrence, but we just got hammered like at SNL one night, and it was just like Jay Farrow is a loud dude, and a drunk Jay Farrow is even louder.
Yeah.
And it was just one of the most chaotic and fun tiny office experiences ever.
Yes.
Like those amazing moments. But like, oh God, I wish I had like.
You ever make someone
wish I
laugh
had.
so hard they threw up? You ever poop your pants? You ever
Oh God, I have a story about that, but I can't tell it because that person would murder
who?
you. No, I'm just kidding.
You make it me.
No,
then
I have
yeah.
a very distinct memory of making Lorne like. There's this like Lorne does this thing every once in a while where he will just like fucking lose it,
Laughing.
like lose it, laughing, like turning purple, like when you get him, you get him.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You don't think of him as laughing. I know he's a comedy guy, but you don't think of him as
Oh,
laughing.
that's the thing. But like when something like really gets him, and it almost like it spooks him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like he gets a little like, oh, you got me! Like, and like, it's a great feeling because like the look on his face.
You took a picture of it?
I have a picture on my phone of Lorne super excited because it's so shocking to see
Yes.
that it's not, you know, I think he's more known for his,
Yeah.
you know, in this tone, not like that moment, like like
Yes,
purple,
yes,
like gasping
yes,
for air,
yes,
laughing.
yes.
And I've seen that a couple times, and it's always at the best moment because you're never going to expect like what it is, and it's usually like a little dirty.
He likes
And,
the
like,
dirty.
but for me, for that moment, the one where I got him, it was like a
What
super
was it?
dirty line. I think it just came out of nowhere, and I still kind of can't believe they put it on air. I did this weird character called Janet Peckinpah. It was like a woman who the whole joke was just like she knew she was older, she knew what she looked like, and she would just walk up to famous people and go like, "Look, I know what I look like." And the whole joke was she was very self-deprecating. She's like, "I know I look like E.T. when he dressed as a lady, but why don't you just throw one in me?" And like. And she was very sexually aggressive. And I think I think the line was to Adam Levine. I said, and like, I don't think I've ever used this term before or after. It was just like, it made me laugh that Janet would say this at 4:00 in the morning to Adam Levine. I was like, come on, Adam, I've been flicking my bean all day thinking about this. And we got, and that aired on television. And
did not.
it did. And I still can't believe it.
Flicking my bean.
Yeah, it's awful. I don't like it.
Oh
I don't
my
like it now.
God.
It's not me.
Nobody
I'm gonna
likes
go far.
it.
And no one
Look,
does.
My
It
favorite
was a
part
different
is
time that I was
look.
allowed to dress up as a sexually aggressive woman and go on television and sexually assault
yes.
Adam Levine. It was not a great thing, but he would. The dirtier and the weirder that character got, the more he loved it, and that always made
Wow.
me happy.
That's a great, great answer. I've never had someone take the hardest laugh question and go, "Here's the time Lorne Michaels laughed the hardest." It's fantastic.
For me, yeah, for at least that I remember, where I was like, "Oh, that got him!" Like
Yes,
it was like
what a
that
feeling.
really made me giggle. That made him
Just to
giggle.
relate, by the way, I've told this many times. One time I got drunk, fairly drunk, not like shit faced, but like dinner drunk, like 3 cocktails drunk, and I called Judd Apatow Dad. I just was like, "Thanks, Dad," and I was like, "Oh no!"
Like for real,
Oh, this happened.
I did that to my business manager right after my mom died.
Thanks,
No,
Dad.
yeah, my business manager gave me a very good pep talk about finances, and she was like, "You okay?" And I went, "Thank you, I love you." And
Hilarious.
Yeah.
You said I love you.
yeah, it was a little bit like I was still had my parents around, but I didn't.
You didn't have to add that.
They
We
murdered each
all
other
knew.
with
They murdered
knives.
each other 6 months after each other. Yeah, that's another favorite Onion headline. Businessman accidentally ends business call with "I love you." Is one of my all-time favorites. Bobby, thank you. I'm glad
Thank
we
you.
agreed that Richard Kind is Fozzie.
That's a really good one.
I feel like not body shape, but Jenna from 30 Rock is a pretty good Miss Piggy. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Jenna Fisher?
Yeah. In her
Oh, no,
attitude.
Jane Krakowski.
Jane
I'm
Krakowski.
thinking The Office.
Yeah, Jane Krakowski. In the
You're a
attitude
G-
of
that's
her
great.
character.
That's great.
Of her
yeah,
character.
Yeah.
Not
that she looks like a foam pig.
She doesn't look like a phone pig.
No.
These days, look, you're not going to cancel me for calling Jane Krakowski a phone pig.
No. I think she would agree and be flattered by that. I think
I mean,
there is
she's-
no other. Maybe Dolly Parton with a couple pills in her.
Yeah. Who's Kermit?
Me. No.
I feel like
It might be you
get out of here.
a little bit. Well, you gotta. Who's Kermit?
I mean, if I'm Kermit, I'll take it every day. Well, I was thinking you like John
Kermit's just the
Krasinski?
best.
He's
Yeah.
just
No,
like
I was gonna say Ron Funches.
Ron Funches. Ron Funches is Winnie the Pooh.
There you go.
Winnie the Pooh, which is the Kermit of
Winnie the Pooh.
the 100 Acre Woods. Yeah. It's archetypes. Oh my God. And Tigger is Fozzie.
Yeah, everything is everything.
Who's
man.
the Eeyore of the Muppets, though? Who's the Mopey?
Sam the Eagle?
Sam the Eagle, yeah. And he's our country.
Yeah.
There you go. Bobby, as Jonah Hill, I'm kidding. Would you say keep it crispy? It's how we end. You say keep it crispy, and then we walk away.
Keep it crispy.
What a great Jonah Hill.
Thank you.
It was like he was here.
22 Jump Street.
23 Jump Street,
If we're lucky.
if we're blessed. Thank you.
Thank you.
You made it weird.